A dark night rises. Yeah. Get it? Because, like, the dark night. And it's raining. And of course it's raining. This always happens. As soon as I start, like, get ready to record Flash TV Talk, or not Flash TV Talk, FLASHCRAFT, it starts raining. Boom. Now then, I was perfectly stationed right here. Got the bamboo on either side, looking all professional. It's like between two ferns, except it's between four bamboo. What's up, everyone? FLASHCRAFT. That's right, it's Bo here from Flash TV Talk, and today is the day that you have long been waiting for or dreading. Today is the last episode of FLASHCRAFT Season 2, and it has been quite a season. And I thought, the best way to cap this bad boy off is to really just kind of like, begin or end where we began. And that's not in Central City. Central City is where we ended. So we'll come back to Central City. But as you may recall, whoa, there we go. We all started out right over here. And this kind of, it's Spawn. That's what this is. It's Spawn. Which, would later go on to be the site of the Great Quartz Off. We would have, the diamonds stacked high here that were all, I can't even remember who won the diamonds. Oh, wait, no, that's right. We all won the diamonds because of a creeper attack. And I forgot. How could I forget? This is why we have a monument, so that we never forget. Man, that's over a year ago. Wow. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. But yes, of course, the war memorial to the Great Creeper attack. This was the site that we chose. The seed, actually, because I really liked that you spawned into like a field that had this big open space. And I kind of saw us filling this big open space with, of course, the Hall of Justice. And then just like Central City all around it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I could not have foreseen Central City. That just kind of happened. It all happened very naturally. As you recall, when we were building the Hall of Justice, we had little shops around here and over there. Let's see. There was a hill back here that we had to push back. In fact, I think we had to move the nether portal several times throughout the process of building this thing. But of course, it turned out great. We need to talk about something else. That is my first base. Oh, wow. Okay, well, now I want to know what that is. But nope, that's not what this is about. That's not what this is about. So I'm heading off in a direction that I don't often head in because this is not the direction of what I kind of consider my first base. But I think if we're going to be honest with kind of how the season went down, got to look at my first few nights here. And that all occurred right about... I thought it was over here. Is it not over here? This is how bad this is. Like, it's been so long since I've actually been out this way. All right, there's some broken nether portals that I've kind of forgotten. Oh, there it is. There it is. All right. So as you recall, I started off this season terrible at Minecraft. Terrible. Absolutely awful. Now, I got good, but it took a while. And as part of me being terrible, I originally wanted to build I had plans to do a UFO base, and I was thinking about doing it out here, but I didn't really like how there wasn't a lot of like surrounding area that was kind of spawning in or loading in. Just the way that realms are set up, you don't really have kind of the, what's the terminology? Like the chunks don't spawn in or something like that. I don't know. The render distance is not very far. And so I got this out here and I thought, this would be nice if I could actually see the surrounding area. And then I couldn't see the surrounding area. And then on top of that, I kept on dying. Like a lot. It was rough. And I thought, okay, I need a bunker. Until I can figure out what to do, I need a bunker. And this was my first little bunker. Now, it's blown up. And I would love to tell you that this happened in some great battle or this was a long time ago. But in reality, it was me doing a little recon before doing this walkthrough again. I came over here, I AFK'd, and I died. I got blown up. Right there. I guess it was a charged creeper too, because that is quite the explosion. So there we go. That's my first bunker here. But ultimately, I couldn't stay here. Oh, wow. Where would I have gotten terracotta that early in the game? Or maybe that's from when I died. That makes more sense. Goodbye, bunker. For what you were just fine. So that's the thing. After being terrible, I decided that I needed to get good. Or more accurately, I kind of decided that I needed to give up. Because this place that we call the overworld, this game that we call Minecraft, you know, it has a couple of different realms in it, right? It has a couple of different Earths, universes, dimensions, if you will. You've got this, the overworld. You've got the end world with the dragon. And then you've got the nether. And I had come to the conclusion that I was dying so much that the overworld must be the most dangerous of all the worlds. And thus I decided there was only one place I could go. That's right, the nether. Now, this was awesome. This was my safe place. Look at this. This was more safe to me than the overworld. And it was great. I made myself a little evil hobbit hole, which worked out perfectly. Put a little sign there so that when people were passing by, they would know that this was my base. I didn't want anybody to get confused. And yet, I still think a lot of people got confused. And yeah, this was really nice. I think it was, in terms of like being, you know, a home in a hell dimension, you can't get much nicer than this. Now, this changed over time, clearly, because we had more bases and everything else. And so my thought was I was going to build this like Hobbit Nether hub, but that portal having to bulge out made me realize that it probably was best to be more about function over form. And so thus it kind of ends up being a little bit of a hodgepodge. That's the thing. This is more of like a general overview, right? We're just kind of reminiscing, going back to some old places. Like right here. Okay. This right here. My gold trading farm. Zolomon got away. Whoa. Huh. Wait, what? What happened to Zolomon? Zolomon's escaped. Okay. Well, all right. So before all that happened, we had this gold trading farm. We had Zolomon, who was a piglin that stole my gear, and so I had him locked up in here, and he was my trading guy, and this worked out really well. I was very proud of this build. I don't think it's the most efficient, but it is one that I kind of figured out on my own. And you know, there's kind of this balance of like wanting to build good things, but then also wanting to try to kind of figure out a method on your own. And I was glad that I was able to do that. Oh, well, hello. How's it going? You guys want to kill me. Jeff! Hey, Jeff! I forgot I named you Jeff! And Dave! What's up, guys? And Bill, son of Dave. Oh, Bill, son of Dave, you're the one that's shooting me. Well, that's not good, Bill. I'll have to talk to your dad about you. And no Zolomon to be found. So somewhere out here, Zolomon is on the loose. The crazy thing is I remember, because when I was living here, it was when we started the Hall of Justice. And I just remember thinking like, man, there's a lot of time that we're spending in the nether. But at the time, you know, the nether update had just gone live. And so it was kind of appropriate. Kind of appropriate, all things considered. All right. But ultimately, this is where we want to go. Because you see, I started this season with a goal, like with a vision of what my base was going to be. And I was really excited to get started on it. And that was to do this UFO base. Now, the UFO base was, the location for where this was going to be changed a couple of times, but ultimately landed right here. Now, you know, if you remember back, the eye of the UFO used to actually face this direction because that's where the pond was. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I just kind of preferred the view. But as things changed in the area, I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and twist this bad boy around. And it made a little bit more sense. With the UFO, it's a fairly simple design, but one that I was very proud of. And it was a lot of fun to kind of go through and get beamed up into the disc, the mothership. This was good. And I think my design flair has improved over this season. Like, I don't know that this is necessarily what I would build again as a starter base. And yet at the same time, I still think that it ages kind of well. I don't know. Maybe we'll look back in a year or so and see if I'm embarrassed by this or proud of it. But I still feel very proud of it. And it was a good base for a while. I mean, honestly, it was safe. I liked going up here. I did have a little bit of a problem early on where creepers would like pop through here. And so I had to put this thing down to make sure that that didn't happen too often. And while today it's like a dive factory, back in the early stages, it was my home sweet home. And it worked out really, really well. That was a good base. It was a very good base. But as time went on, I decided I needed somewhere else to live. I needed something bigger, mostly for storage reasons, but also because I kind of wanted to go with a different theme. And what goes better with aliens than cowboys? I was right next to this desert. I thought, you know what? Let's make a saloon. Let's make a not just a saloon, but a giant saloon mansion. Now, is this giant? That's a good question. Like, what do you think? I think this is bigger than you would, find, on your average saloon. I mean, it's like 3 stories, and that seems kind of big and massive. But at the same time, I don't know. I've been tinkering around with what I'm going to do for season 3, and it puts this to shame. And yet, I'm still very proud of it. I think it looked really, really nice. I never got a chance to use it as a bar. I was kind of hoping at some point to kind of be back here and have people come through and, serving them up potions or something like that. That never really happened. But that's okay. This was great, though. Like, this massive kind of storage room really served me very well. And I was glad that the design turned out the way that it did. I want to do something kind of cool with a floor. And so using these, the blacksmithing tables, gave a really kind of nice, a little bit more of like a dark edge to it. So, you've got kind of the it's a saloon. Everything is all nice. Everybody's having a good time, having their melons and their pumpkins and whatnot. And then you roll back and then bam, dun dun dun. This is where all the evil is. Not evil, just a different tone. I also liked the idea of having these kind of 2 work tables and, just to be able to keep what I needed immediately or maybe like store something very quickly. Worked out great. Worked out absolutely great. I can't remember if I ever really talked about this, but so the other great thing about this is that there are 2 secret like rooms or 2 secret portions of this. One is back here behind the nether portal. And that was where I put my enchanting table and kept all that good stuff. It was all right over here. And then also it was kind of a quick get down to the mines if I needed to. So woohoo! Right? And then get back up fairly quickly. So that's one of the secret locations. The other one is right there. This originally, now it's not anymore, but this used to be my quick taxi over to the oh wow, how many of these? Okay, is that the last one? Yeah. This used to be where I had a kind of a quick taxi over to my lair. But that ended up changing. Oops. Oh. Yep, a little bit dangerous. You're just going to get this fixed really quick. Great. Yes, that used to be the taxi over to the secret base. Or not to the secret base, to the lair. But as times kind of went on, I realized, I needed to make more of a larger transit system that was not just between the 2 locations. And so everything had to, get expanded. On top of that, too, when I turned the portal around, it made it so that I could just use my portal there, go into the nether, come back over here, glide right on down, and then I was there. It was ridiculous. It didn't make any sense whatsoever, and the entire layout of this base is one of the things that I am probably most embarrassed by this season, because none of it makes sense. Like UFO over there, saloon over there, that's facing that way. This was facing that way, and now it's facing this way, and then this is facing this way. Like nothing makes sense whatsoever. I mean, this was an educational season for me. It really was. But where I ended up spending most of my time later in the season was less about in my own base and more about in my lair, which, man, I don't know if y'all remember, but like this used to just be nothing. Like this was like legitimately nothing. Like I remember looking at that and trying to figure out which one to build my secret lair in. And I chose this one for one thing for the proximity to the UFO, but then also because, there was this little divot and I was like, oh, this is great. We'll just make a little bridge here and go. And the original bridge didn't even look this nice. And so, this was just literally a hole in the wall. But over time, we kind of tried to make it a little bit more fortressy, especially as, the secret lair became less and less secret. Now we walk in, we hear the minions all down here. That was a late addition as well. And, even just kind of like the holographic floor, the drop down almost to bedrock. the netherite throne. This is like the final form of this base, but it went through so very many. Like I had a hodgepodge of things. Like there was the time machine was right here. I had kind of a planning board right here. Originally, as I started putting farms up at the top, I had everything going to just one line of chests right here. With no kind of storage system or automation or anything like that. And I remember, because again, the throne was not what it is today, but I remember sitting in the throne and wondering whether or not it was working. And it was driving me crazy. So what I ended up doing was I put one redstone lamp right up here. I ran a line from the hopper system over here, just so that while I was sitting right here, I could see whether or not it was working. And if it blinked, that means something was going through. I had no idea what was going through, but the point was that something was going through. And I was really proud of that. And then once I realized that it made more sense to actually do kind of an item storage system and fit as many farms as I could up top, that is really when when the lair, I figured out what its final form needed to be. And I'm really proud of it. I think, there's a lot about efficiency with these farms, other than... Honestly, my melon and pumpkin farm, about the only two super efficient farms that I have up there. Oh, and the chicken. Yeah, I was never hungry this season. This very simple chicken farm went a long way to helping out there. So this was great. The lair was great. Now, this was a later addition, but one that really came in handy and I think is really influencing how I'm going to start next season off, and that is villager trading. Now, I really had a personal goal to learn how to do villagers earlier on this season, and I decided I got so frustrated that I just bailed on it and didn't even worry about it. However, especially as the farm started going, trading with the farmers really ended up being my main source of XP, like quick XP. And, I want to give, credit where credit is due. Hang on. Where is he? Oh, okay, everybody's sleeping. All right, now, as I was saying, I got to give credit where credit is due, and that is to my boy Igor right here. Igor! What up, man? Listen, I wanted to talk to you because this is my last episode of FLASHCRAFT. And, after this, I'm going to be leaving this world. And I want you to be the new supreme leader. Or, well, you know what? That's probably not a good idea. You know what? I am going to let you be in charge of the lair. Oh, you didn't like that, huh? Well, you know what? You're going to be in charge of the lair. And you're going to do a great job, okay? So I'm going to let you out of here. And I'm going to free you from the minions, and you're going to be in charge of all the minions. Sound good? And you're going to be great, Igor. He's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I don't guess he's going to be coming out anytime soon, but when he does, y'all watch out. You're making me look bad, buddy. Come on. Come on. Get there. Yeah. See? Anyway, so as I mentioned, the transit system from earlier, so ultimately the transit system grew and would ultimately be the main way in which we connected to Central City. And we will be going to Central City a bit later. We need to talk about some things, though, because one of the big things that happened near the end of the season is I went to the future on Earth 3 and was replaced by my future Earth 3 self, who built this, which is awesome. This is so great. I'm very pleased with how this turned out. He also did some major improvements to the transit system as well, if I'm being totally honest, like some really, really nice improvements. And, I'm thinking he can't be that bad after all. In fact, one imagines he's quite good. Maybe too good. All right, so in talking about the overall inefficiency of my bases and the layout of everything, it has to be noted that one of the things that drove me crazy about my lair is that there was no nether port in my lair. Despite me spending most of my time there, I had no quick way to get to the nether, and that was not great. So the Hall of Justice was obviously our first big team build, and we're very proud of how it turned out. It was really great. And also because of its proximity to Central City, it was also one that we saw quite a bit and were able to use. Also because it was its spawn, when we had new members join, it was the first thing that they saw, which was a big aspect of what I wanted that build to be. I was really proud of how that turned out. The team as a whole did a great job at collecting resources and, just really getting that right kind of feel. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. But their second build was it was by far the most challenging. And that is, of course, the Legion of Doom. It's the one that took us the longest amount of time. And it was also probably the most collaborative of the builds that we've done this season. Now, the collaboration was great, but... well, let's just get in here and talk about it. I believe Bell called this thing soul crushing, and he's not wrong. This was a difficult build for a lot of reasons. And I think, for me anyway, the big one is just like Blackstone is, it's a tough block to work with. It is highly repetitive. This place is super dark. Like, what I mean is that it was highly repetitive for us to do it in this style. In hindsight, we probably should have mixed it up a little bit and, tried to in post and that sort of thing. But, for the most part, you were just constantly in the dark. We had this goal of kind of contrast, right? With kind of the birch and the sand, but then also the black, and, trying very hard to go off of images from the Legion of Doom, from, the Super Friends and everything. And even with this table, which I think turned out pretty well, this is it's just a dull palette. It's just a dull palette to work with. A bunch of dull blocks and a little overly clashy. And it was different. What's this? Oh, cake. Oh yeah, that was a whole thing. I remember Bell really wanted Lex Luthor to get cake. That's right. So we got the chest of cake. It finally made it in. But so our Legion of Doom, the Doom room, the meeting room of Doom, it worked out pretty well. This is something that never quite worked, but you can almost kind of think about this. This was our spawning point, our bed rather. And the goal here was that you were supposed to touch the DNA scanner, and then when you when you died and respawned, you'd respawn here in kind of this collection chamber. That was not how this was originally supposed to work. This was actually supposed to work much more similar to what was our trap for Brainiac. But you know what? That's okay. If I hadn't messed this up so many times, I probably wouldn't have been able to figure that out. So that worked out pretty well. Also, what was great about this is that this was the beginning of the LexCorp versus the Legion, or rather versus the League of Assassins storyline. The wild thing is that it was supposed to do more with this. Like, originally, that wasn't going to be a cloning machine from LexCorp. That was going to be a Lazarus pit from the League of Assassins. And then as the League of Assassins kind of needed a challenger, and as our plans started coming together to create a faction war, LexCorp seemed the obvious choice. LexCorp, was gonna put the lay down the law privately, in a privately held company, and it was going to be great. It was going to be great. So I thought this was a really good way to to incorporate LexCorp early on before bringing LexCorp to Central City. I would say of everything in this room, this area is something I am fairly proud of. This kind of giant nether portal, kind of doing more of a circular, having kind of a story going on with the gold either coming out of the port or going into the port. It's, kind of up to you how you want to interpret that. That I am kind of proud of. But this was a large space to try to fill. The guys did a great job of all the kind of functional stuff and making sure there were platforms for that. And we tried, but it was difficult. It was very difficult. I mean, I feel for Bell. He worked so hard on this dome for so long, and it was just a hard thing to pull off. But I will say the exterior did come together really, really nicely. Like, that looks fantastic. Fox had the challenge of trying to get the undercurve, which was very difficult. Like, this was this was probably just one of the most challenging builds from a lot of different levels. But there are aspects of it that are just absolutely excellent. And I think, the underside, the exterior, that all turned out really, really well. So, I give us props. This was a challenging build. We rose to the occasion. It took us, like half the season to finish, but we got it. We made it happen. I feel like early on in the season, there was a lot of walk and talks in the Nether specifically. Between going back from this space to the Hall of Justice, and then from Doom to my UFO, and really to my saloon. Because that was the other thing. As I was working on the interior of Legion of Doom, it just made me want some color. I had to do something else. And so that was kind of what really encouraged the idea of all right, let me build another base, something with some color. UFO was gray, Doom was all black, Hall of Justice was all white, needed a splash of color. I'm really proud of how this turned out. This was so good. I know I keep just saying that, like, oh, I'm proud of this. This was good. Really liked this. You know, a lot of the same stuff. But I mean, honestly, if you can't look back on your work and be pleased, then I mean, what are you doing? This was a great build. And I you know, we I think from this is where we kind of determine like all of the big team builds need to serve as bases in some fashion. I don't know if that'll be the case in the future. We'll just kind of have to see how it goes. But one way or the other, it's turned out great. You know, there was some fun little Easter eggs. I originally had this in the reverse way, but I got busted. I think Will busted me on that one. Maybe it was Kyle. This was, yeah, you got to take it in. You got to take it in for what it is. And there's a creeper. And there's a creeper up there. So Central City became something of its own team build, almost like an unintentional team build to some extent, because originally we never had this, you know, main idea of building a centralized city. When I say that this is heavily influencing what we're going to do in season 3, that's an understatement. This is absolutely what we're doing in season 3, or should I say Earth 3. We will definitely be taking the concept of building kind of a team city and having a lot of team builds within the city as kind of our primary focus as a group. And I'm really excited to see where that goes. But man, this place changed a lot over time. Now, this right here was a fun concept. The post office ended up being like a really great tool for all of us to communicate with one another when we were offline, drop things off. Having kind of that centralized hub was just really efficient. In season 1, of course, all of our bases were right next to each other. And here in season 2, we wanted to spread out. But having this kind of centralized hub was really great. And yeah, this was actually, if you cast your mind back to the beginning of the Creeper War, I put out essentially like a postal board that was next to the Hall of Justice, and that eventually evolved into our post office. And other than the bank, I'm pretty sure this was our first building, kind of public building, so to speak, that was here. Of course, there's so many great shops that have popped up over time and kind of grown. You've got Will's, which started out as kind of like a little bit of a nether block and then became a bookshop with book written high in the sky. Bell's wool shop with his giant wool sign. I have to admit, I hated this. I hated this so much. I hated because it was just so gaudy. You'd walk up and like you'd see the Hall of Justice over there, and then you just have this big sign that said "wool" up in the sky. And then to make matters worse, Will did the same thing with book. And I was like, "Are we gonna do this? Is that what we're gonna do? We're all gonna put like our names on things, like we're Plaza." We're all gonna put like words up in the sky. That's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, I came to realize over the course of this Cadmus. Yeah, I came to realize over the course of creating this city that the beauty of collaboration is that you really get like a mixture of styles and a mixture of ideas. And I think also the wool sign encouraged us to get big on some of these other shops and designs throughout the city, having kind of skyscrapers. In fact, I believe it was Fox that was the first to make a really, really tall building here with his our shop with his white lantern, white lantern, black lantern, lantern in transit, what have you. And yeah, the Central City building, or Central City Citizen, started small and grew high. Cadmus was one of our first big builds for LexCorp when we were working for LexCorp. And we need to talk about that. We need to talk about that because I'll kind of share something with you that was kind of happened behind the scenes. Before showing off this whole Ra's al Ghul thing, this started out as just a simple, fun game of Assassins. It wasn't going to be just like a game of Assassins. It was going to be a secret game of Assassins, where if you knew about it, you knew about it, and if you didn't, you didn't. And my thought was that over time, everybody was going to be introduced into the Assassins game. And of course, it works exactly how it works. I mean, obviously, I was the one that set this up, in that you would come over here, whoop, you'd fall down, and there would be this room. And I was really pleased with this. I wanted kind of this black infinity room that, to the unsuspecting participant, they wouldn't know about. They just literally got a piece of paper that kind of showed them to go to the coordinates in the woods, and they would press that button and drop down into this kind of black infinity room with the instructions on what they needed to do and how it was going to work. What was great was before, it was kind of a fun game that took off very, very quickly. And in fact, so quickly that it took off before we could really start recording content around it. Like, I died in kind of a fake assassination of myself because I wanted to throw off suspicion early on. And by the way, I was very successful at that. There was still like a lot of people assumed it was me at first, and then that threw some people off, and there was a big question mark as to who it was. I've got great acting. What can I say? But before we could really record a lot of content around it, Will found out. Like, Will figured it all out, and then I tried to stop him before he exposed everything, and yeah, it was just a mess. But we used that mess, and we turned that into what became the League of Assassins story, and that's when I incorporated this, the Red Room. Oh, I love this. I love this idea of a secret room, a place where there's trophies from all of the different, assassinations that have happened over time. The goal originally was to use this as a means of collecting netherite so that I could add to the netherite throne. And yet I found that I really liked it better to just kind of keep the netherite up here and like put it up on the wall. So even once I was found out, I never actually used that netherite. Oh, there's still one contract out for Fox. This was great. This was great. Such an unsuspecting situation to use a little villager home and turn it into kind of this like evil little surprise room. It was such a big, I had a lot of fun with that. And I also had a lot of fun with this. Like the redstone for this, I believe I've already explained, but essentially the way it works is when somebody deposits a name down there, the name then is transported to the red room, and then it sends a signal which ignites the flame over here, so that those that were assassins would know that there is actually currently a contract for them to come and work on. And then once it was done, they would take it out of it, they'd put it up on the wall, and the flame would go out. And so I thought this was a really fun communication symbol or signal to those that were kind of in the League of Assassins. And it also kind of helped the game go in a kind of an automated fashion. It was really, really great. So I'm proud of how that all turned out. The redstone itself, I don't know if it's sloppy or not, but one thing's for sure, you don't want to go digging around that area because I'm pretty sure it would all collapse really quick. But since I was publicly not involved with the League of Assassins, I decided to go publicly with being on Team LexCorp, and that allowed me to be very against the League of Assassins in a public fashion, and it was great. We originally set up a little communications system right here that was just temporary for LexCorp to hire different members of the FLASHCRAFT realm, and of course, those were all members that we knew because we knew that they weren't assassins. It's also created the need for Iron Heights Prison, which Will made and got really creative on making it literally an I and an H. This was great. And who knew that we would end up needing it so much? Because obviously we've recently captured a lot of Harrison Wells's. Yeah, you got Harrison Wells of Earth 2. He's over there. Yep. You're our Harrison Wells. And then we got the Harrison B. Wells of Earth Unknown. He is not happy. And then you've got Harrison A. Wells of Earth Unknown. Not sure where you're from. And then we have Harrison A.F. Wells of Earth 1337. Now that is, just to be clear, that is Harrison Axe Flag Wells, because he had a flag and an axe. So Harrison A.F. Wells of Earth 1337. He was here, but nobody really knows what happened to him. So who knows? I will return and I will have vengeance and Harris. Ooh. Oof. Anyway, we're just going to leave that there. But this was really the tragic one. Eobard was here. This is when the resistance, which we now know was being led by the mayor, stole my cat. Stole Eobard. Which, by the way, I've been doing some research, and if you go back and watch the video from the Brainiac, somebody kills Eobard in the alternate present timeline. So, yeah. Fortunately, the real Eobard is alive and well and up in my office, but that's tragic, is what that is. And speaking of alternate timelines and alternate versions of people and whatnot, my counterpart, who was here to build Star Labs and did a great job, and face Brainiac and did a great job, also did a lot more. He did a lot more. And I'm pretty pleased, all things considered. For one thing, over here, he built this church and a graveyard, which is kind of a candle shop. Now, he's not... Oh, well, I was about to say he's not much of a businessman because nobody ever shopped here. And yet, I'm just going to take that. Yeah, that's... I put those bones there, just by the way. That was me. That wasn't him. Because I put those bones there. So those are my diamonds. And honestly, even if it wasn't from that, even if it was from this, they'd be my diamonds because it's me, just future me from another Earth. Anyway, this is a really, really nice build. I really liked this little candle and now bone shop over here. But this is really impressive. So I created EOTech Park as kind of like a nice little way of entering into the city in my temporary time as city manager, just to kind of make it, everything a little bit more picturesque, put the sign up there and all that kind of good stuff. But what my alternate self did is really kind of cool. He made a bit of a wishing well. And actually, I guess I have a diamond, so as much as I hate to, spend diamonds on the city, let me go ahead and do it. Put it right there. Little jingle. And then, fireworks all around. That's so cool. Yeah. Woo! That's pretty cool. I kind of want my diamonds back now, though, but that's pretty cool. Of course, the diamonds were a contentious issue because here at the warehouse, which was originally established as a warehouse for us FLASHCRAFTers to keep team build resources. So after building something like the Legion of Doom or the Hall of Justice or Star Labs, any kind of leftover stuff would end up in the warehouse. It was a cool little warehouse. It was great. And then, when I took over the contract from LexCorp, we upgraded it on behalf of the city. And made it LexCorp warehouse, but it was still, in ownership of the city. And so I negotiated a deal with the mayor when we were separating LexCorp from the city that I would own everything here and everything underneath. Now, what our mayor, didn't do his homework. And so he didn't realize that underneath was where all the diamonds were kept. And I actually specifically designed it that way when I was redesigning this. I put the vault specifically underneath the grounds of the warehouse so that I could acquire this down the road if the city ever broke away from LexCorp. I'm telling you, I pulled off some stuff this season, but that's probably the one I'm most proud of. That's the one I'm most proud of. Now, there were people in the city that were a little bitter. They weren't exactly happy about it. And so I thought, hey, we're going to give them an opportunity. And so I created a bit of a system, a little bit of almost kind of like an escape room style, try to figure all this out in order to get the diamonds back, thinking surely they won't be able to, or if someone is able to, it'll mean they have to betray their partners in order to keep it themselves. And that did not happen. Thanks to the ingenuity and cunning of our mayor, he was able to successfully get them, but it was only temporary, as you and I both know, because I now have all the diamonds. But an unwatched wallet can manage to disappear. What does that mean? Okay. Let's see what this is about. No, everything's fine. I mean, obviously this is here, but I mean, we know this doesn't work anymore. Let's just figure out what's going on here. Oh, wrong spot. What? My diamonds! Where's my diamonds? Okay, someone stole all the diamonds. And my diamonds. It wasn't like there wasn't just the city diamonds in here. There was also my diamonds, all of LexCorp's profits. This is all the evidence. Now they didn't take any of the evidence that would link me to Ra's al Ghul. Actually, this would be that's probably the most damning one right there because it's the original copy of Ra's al Ghul's invitation to the League of Assassins. If this ever got out, I'd be in a lot of trouble. They didn't take the deed to the warehouse or to Cadmus. What is this? What? No. Fox. You can't even say he's Brainiac now because this is Fox. How did he crack my code? How did he? All right, you know what? We're going to have to get to the bottom of that. I mean, like, it's too... I mean, like... unbelievable. Unbelievable is what it is. Absolutely unbelievable. Fox. Can't believe this. Wait, I'm broke. That means I'm broke. Those are my diamonds. Those are all my diamonds. Those are all the LexCorp diamonds that we have. Like, literally, I just have the 4 diamonds that I just got from the bone store, from the graveyard. And I just gave those to the city. Let's see real quick what's going on here. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, so Fox was also in charge of the bank. He actually built the new bank. And so I am sure that they are back here, and there's no way in. There's no way in. Good job, Fox. Good on you. Broke into my vault. I don't know. There's no way he could have figured that out. I was so very good about not showing on camera how to get into the vault. There's a password, as y'all just saw. There's a lever, which, anyone could probably figure out, but there's a specific place in the room that you need in order to operate it. It's like double layers, triple layers of protection there. How did he do it? How did he do it? Fox, come on. How did he? Anyway, Redstone Shop. Yes. Fox and I collaborated originally on this before I bought him out to get the diamonds. I can't. Oh man. Fox. Oh, I can't. This is game, set, and match. I don't even know what to do because this is it. I'm leaving the world. It's over. I just thought I was going to be leaving it with a lot of money in the bank. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, this brings us, of course, the Brainiac War was the thing that we focused on lastly, which we had Area 52 over here. My counterpart put a wonderful flash flag on top of City Hall, which was Will, our mayor's base of operations. And by the way, as you know, all of this, the resistance versus the Supreme Leader, the Mayor versus the Supreme Leader, the League of Assassins versus LexCorp. It was all in good fun. It was absolutely all in good fun. There was no ill will meant towards anybody, nothing like that. Now that I think about it, I mean, again, it doesn't really matter, but there is one place, another Harrison Wells. There is one place that my diamonds might be, and it's right down here. Okay, so you may recall, we went down here and we first found this whole system. There's an entire system of tunnels underneath Central City. I don't know where all they go. I will occasionally find a tunnel and it's a labyrinth that the resistance made underneath the city. Now, I originally thought, or at least I tried to pin this whole area on Ra's al Ghul, but of course this isn't Ra's al Ghul. This was the resistance all along. And I wonder, could it be that the resistance is where my diamonds are? Maybe they put it here. I don't know that they know that I know about this. I found this out a while back. And to be clear, they know I know about this. They know I know about this. But what they don't know is that I know about this. Yeah, that's right. I know about your secret behind the map wall. There it is. Boom. Oh, look at this. Yeah, they got maps of all of our bases. They've been running surveillance on everyone at all given times, including the new people, which is pretty messed up. Resistance. Look at this. Been running surveillance this entire time, and they originally had their plan board, the one that I was like, oh, I'm so surprised last week. No. See, I knew all along. I knew about all of this. I knew about all of it. I knew what was going on. Well, hello. Oh, okay. Oh, very nice. Very nice. I suppose that turns it back on. Yes. Interesting. Oh, look. And it removes it from here. And over here, does that reveal something? No, that just removes it. Awesome little squid tank over here. I mean, there's diamonds right here. Are these my diamonds? I kind of feel like I should take them. I mean, after all, they took my diamonds. But see, that's the thing. This is the thing. I'm not going to take them, and I'll tell you why. Because everything that I did legally. Okay, that was the brilliance of me as a supervillain. I did nothing. I broke no laws. Broke absolutely no laws. I just used the system to achieve all of my goals, and I was very successful. This is the thing. This is the thing, buddy. the resistance had to resort to illegal activity. Fox clearly broke into my safe, and that is not okay. That is not okay. So really, and I mean, this is really a lesson for all of us. Who was the real villain? Huh? I mean, it was me. But I mean, like, who are the real villains here? Y'all, it's all in good fun. We had so much fun this season with all of this. I really enjoyed being a villain. I am looking forward to next season and being a good guy for a little while. It's fun being a villain, but sometimes you gotta mix it up. And I'm really excited for what's to come. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to see or check out before it's all said and done. Underground Fox's old shop. Oh yeah, that's right. Fox's old shop was down here. Fox has always been big on like little secret areas. Little secrets. Little tunnels and underground areas. That's like his thing. This was cool. I mean, I only really used it once, but it was a cool build and a cool addition to the LexCorp Plaza. The green screen and everything. I really, with the lights, the drop down kind of cam lights and everything. This was great. All right, so that was fun, even though it was only for like one little bit, but it was really great. LexCorp Plaza, even though LexCorp Plaza was, meant to be, just kind of a major shopping experience and kind of a, massive shop with a lot of different areas and styled off of a mall and everything, this really became, I guess, my main base. Like the saloon base, I feel like almost got overshadowed with how much time I really spent here. This had everything that I needed. I even built like a separate storage room and only went back to the saloon if I didn't have stuff here, but I mostly did. And then on top of that too, with the shops and everything, I could get most of the materials I needed right there. I think that in the future, I have big plans for my personal base, which I'm very much looking forward to. But beyond that, I do think that as we kind of build what will be the new city, having some kind of in-base or in-city base is going to be a big part of it as well. It's nice to have a headquarters. It's nice to have like an HQ. And what better HQ can you get? This is just a great little view of the city, and I'm really proud of how it all turned out. EOTech was fun. That little plot line was fun. It was all so much fun. It was great. Oh, man. Okay. All right, I'm getting a little choked up. Eobard, you take care of LexCorp, okay? You're now in charge of LexCorp. Igor's in charge of Mount Doom, Zoom, and you are in charge of LexCorp. And I know you'll do well. Although now I'm kind of wondering if I should have put Igor in charge of here, and Eobard, you probably should have been. You know what, Eobard? You are the supreme leader now. I feel really good about that. Yes. You know what? Yes, Supreme Leader Eobard. Okay, all right, here we go. This is what we need to do, and boom, Supreme Leader. You are now the Supreme Leader of the entire Earth. I need you to do a good job, and actually, maybe we need to actually put you in Mount Zoom. We need you to come over here. All right, yes, good for you. That's very good, Eobard. All right, come on, now then, seat of power. Here we go. We're gonna come up here. Yep. Don't get in the fire. Just come up here and get yourself a treat. That's right. Get in the chair. Over here. Get in the chair. Uh-huh. Come on, buddy. Come on, you got this. You got this. Let's do it. Here, I'll let's just there we go. No fire. Yep. Come on. Up here. Get on the throne. No! Oh, wait. What just happened? I feel like he like teleported. Okay. Yeah. It's like he doesn't even want it. I'm going to get you on that throne, man. This is happening. Okay. I have named you as my successor. You are Supreme Leader of Earth 2. You must take the throne. No! Let's go. Over here. Yeah. You are quite ironically going very slow. Yep. It's Coronation Day, Eobard. That's right. Come get the what? All right. Oh, that's good. Yep. There. There you go. Now you're on your throne. Oh, no. Boom. There you are. You look great. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Supreme Leader of Earth 2. Looking dapper. Looking wonderful. Let's get the throne relit here. There we go. There we go. Good job, Eobard of Earth 2. Look at you. Look how far you've come, man. You did it. You know what? Look at us. Look at us. Look at us. Who knew? All right. Even with all the diamonds stolen, I think getting Eobard on the throne was a big win. Someone needs to go tell Igor that he's got a new boss. And let's not think about these trapdoors and what the implications are, because that could be deeply disturbing. Oh yes, Mount Zoom is safely guarded. As we see, we should probably address this. This happened too. This happened too in my absence. My monument was defaced or faced. No, it was defaced. My face was defaced. The face of me was defaced by my Earth 3 counterpart. How dare he? How dare he? But you know, we're going to leave this. We're going to leave this. We're going to leave all of this as a great monument to the adventures that we've had throughout this past season. It has been an incredible journey. It has been wonderful. I know that for many of us, this was, or at least for me personally, this was a big, this was a big comfort in what was a really, really rough year. I think that's probably true for a lot of people. We all found different things, different ways to stay connected, even in a tough time when we were all so far apart. And kind of FLASHCRAFT was that for me. And so I want to say to all the FLASHCRAFTers, thank y'all so much for being part of this, for all of the silly antics and the team builds and I don't know, just all the craziness. It was, what is this? What? This is Fox's thing. This is Fox's thing. Look at this. Oh, hang on now. This is, I did not know where this was. You know what? Okay. All right. You know what? I was about to sign out. It was about to be over and done forever. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is really good. Really intricate. With the textures and everything, with the glass. Be a shame if somebody messed that up. I mean, this is just absolutely incredible. I mean, just like I said, just be an absolute shame after so much work to make this. Especially as kind of something to send a message while stealing, my diamonds. Be a real shame if somebody just decided they wanted to, mess it all up. I'm using sand because that's the only quickly available resource for this. There we go. Mustache, little tongue hanging out right there. That's how we did that. What? There we go. Oh, that's hilarious. All right, good deal. I feel good about that. We need. Oh man, what a great. I have no idea where we are in relation to anything right now. I have literally no idea, which is probably the best possible. And I have no rockets either. Well, that's not good. I need to get home. But anyway, as I was saying before all of that, this has been just a really special thing to do this past year, and it's been a lot of fun. I really, like I said, appreciate all the FLASHCRAFTers, and I'm excited that I think at this point, I think everybody is returning for Earth 3. And as you have seen, as it has been teased out many a time, Earth 3, we are doing something very different. For Earth 1 and Earth 2, we did FLASHCRAFT. And for Earth 3, we will be doing BATCRAFT. And as you'll kind of learn more about here in the coming weeks, our plan is to build, instead of Central City, Gotham City. And instead of just kind of doing kind of personal shops and businesses and that sort of thing, which we definitely will do, our goal is to actually make iconic locations from around Gotham City. So like Ace Chemical Plant, Wayne Tower, Wayne Manor, as well as... the Bat Cave, all that kind of good stuff. I mean, look, caves and cliffs. That's the Minecraft update, right? It was basically demanding that we build a Bat Cave, and we thought, why not go all the way and just really lean into Gotham? So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've already got some major ideas for my personal base, and I'm eager. Very, very eager for 1.18 to come out. Oh, hey, look. This speaking of which, I opened up a Trident farm. Or not a Trident farm, but a Trident shop. Atlantean discount Tridents, 3 diamonds each. Never sold any, but who knows? Maybe I will in the coming days. So Yes, I guess this is it. I need to go and put my stuff up. Wow, this is weird. This is a weird feeling. This is a very, very strange feeling. All right, yeah, let's go ahead and we'll just empty on out my ender chest. And then some of this, like, the emeralds will go here. We'll put the gold up as well. Oh, one last thing. Let me just check on this real quick. The LexCorp glue factory. I almost feel a little guilty about this. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've done a lot of evil things, but torturing this little horse right here, torturing Glue. Hi, bud. Yeah, how's it going? Oh, man. You might be the most evil thing I've ever done. I'm not going to lie. I could set you free, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna I'm gonna go out on top. I'm gonna go out being the best supervillain I can be. Oh, by the way, we did we did some good things as well. Like, for example, we've got this visitor center. So for anyone that wants to come through, there's some messages. All the FLASHCRAFTers are kind of encouraged to leave messages here and put them on the wall. And yeah, okay, all right, this time for real. This time is it. All right, let's go. Oh, the TV Talk building. Okay, all right, hang on. No, all right. It's like one of those things when you have relatives over and they never leave. Mr. York, executive producer, Flash TV Talk. Definitely not Eobard. I was not. My cat was. Okay, yeah. This was good. This was good. Oh, look, I had a sword in here. Bell never did anything with his. What? I'm kidding. I put that there. It's like everybody either already cleaned out their office or never did anything with their office. But I feel like some people did do stuff with their office. Well, I did stuff with mine. Okay. All right. Get a little emotional. Even supreme leaders can cry. I'm good. This is great. I'm so excited about the future. I love what we've done here, but I am so ready for Earth 3. Let's go ahead and drop off all the stuff. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Da, 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 da. By the way, so the Doom, this will help you find your way back. If you're lost in the Nether, this will bring you back to our main Nether portal. This right here brings you to the Legion of Doom. This right here brings you my UFO base. And these are my remaining diamonds, the ones I kept on my person, the ones I kept under my mattress, as opposed to storing them in my highly secure bank vault. Who knew that time travel would end up costing me so much? All right, and here is where my armor needs to go. The helm of the Supreme Leader, my elytra, my pants, and my Eo boots. There it is. And with that, the Flash Museum, the FLASHCRAFT Museum, I believe is complete. And thus is Earth 2. Again, this has been an amazing year. Thank you for everybody who's showed up and enjoyed this with us. This has been a lot of fun. And hey, there's still a little bit of time left. So if you do want to be part of Earth 3 and Batcraft, be sure to email us with some information. We've actually got everything at tvtalk.fm. tvtalk.fm is the place to go, and you'll find all the details on how you can potentially join us for Batcraft. But until Earth 3, from me, the no longer Supreme Leader, actually, because I guess Eobard's the Supreme Leader, but anyway, from Earth 2 Bo to you, goodbye.